What's up? It's your man, Marv Glover.
And the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis.
And welcome to the Hold My Nuggets podcast, here where we talk 50% sports,
50% real shit,
100% of the time. And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Welcome to episode number 16. I think you stumbled a little bit. When you
little bit on the meticulous.
Yeah, you know.
I didn't have too much water today.
Okay.
So, it's kind of dry up there. So, I still got it out, though.
How you doing? How was your day, brother? How's everything going?
A lot.
We was talking about it a little bit off the air. You got a haircut. This is a big deal for you.
Is it?
You get a haircut once every 4 years. So this is a step in the right direction.
You heard the wrong time for it. It's once every 4 months.
Why the haircut so spaced out?
God, that's not that difficult to figure out. I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money.
A haircut's only like $15 to $25.
Precisely. Had it been about 7, we'd be good.
Okay, so 15 is out your tax bracket.
Ridiculous.
Do you pay taxes? While we're here, it's not like I'm wearing a mic or anything like that.
We're
on the topic of
That's a tough question to ask. I plead the fifth.
Okay, there you go.
I got an email about student loans as we speak.
And you gonna pay those, right?
Nope. So, baby, what we're talking about here.
We talk about this haircut. You look good. I got a beanie
do
on. I don't do the beanie look.
Why don't you take the beanie off?
Well, because the people who
take
can
the
see.
beanie off.
No, it looks bad. I'm trying to say it.
Does it?
No, I have no hairline. When I don't.
Well, your facial hair kind of look like pubic hair right now.
Well, you know what? I didn't brush. I should have. You know what? I should have brushed my shit, because when I don't brush it, it looks a little. It's patchy. It's very patchy.
It is patchy.
Well, it's a work in progress.
It's like a crop circle. There's a lot of space that's in between.
But let me tell you something. It's not that far from yours, right? Well, I'm on my way.
There's a little bit of a difference. Like if you see over here, you clean shaven. There's no patches that's there. If they look at my beard, the only patch is like right here.
I like how the person who designed this, they gave you like a little fade, like un pequeño fade, like in the corner of the.
I don't know what you just said in that language, but I can tell you that much.
There's a small fade.
Yeah, a miniature fade over there.
Or it's either that or you're balding in that area.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps. On the photo, though.
On the photo. In real life, I'm good.
Yeah,
in real life, you look good.
Thank you.
As for myself, let's talk about my beard. I don't know what to do. I don't know if you did anything. I know your brother, y'all both got natural beards or whatever.
Yeah, it just grow.
It just grows.
But my father never grew a beard, so it's very confusing.
Oh, is he incapable?
No, he's not incapable. I'm not growing no beard.
This is not his life.
Beard is for bums. So I'm all right. Yeah, my dad has a very convoluted thought of how life works.
Your dad only has a mustache, right?
Yes, he does. Only a mustache.
Yeah, but usually I rock the mustache with the little chin strap because that's what's full, right? If I grow my beard out, clearly I look homeless a little bit. You understand?
A little bit.
But this is the best that it's looked. I'm gonna give it some time this time, because usually what happens is I let it grow for a little bit, and I get discouraged by this. Like, you wasn't at the last monthly comedy show.
I wasn't able to make it.
Someone in the crowd actually called me. She had called me out. But I called her out, and she called me out back. Like, I just actually...
Oh, so you mentioned her mustache, and then she came back at you.
Well, she had a mustache, but I didn't mention it. What happened was I was just...
So wait a minute. You mean to tell me you was on stage?
Yes, I was.
At your monthly comedy show?
Don't be afraid to laugh. Well, I can't even promote it because we're changing, but that's a whole different thing.
Oh, you changed the location?
Yeah.
Oh, this upcoming month.
Well, no, we're not going to have one this month. We're going to have one in January.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough.
We're talking about like 5 different things.
Yeah, we are. But I'm just curious. Okay. You were on stage.
Yes, I was. Hosting my monthly comedy show.
Hosting your monthly comedy show.
With my co-host, Mike Logan.
Yeah, and you
spotted... at the V-Spot restaurant every second. Well, that did take place at the V-Spot restaurant every second Wednesday of every month.
And you spotted...
Doors open at 6, shows that starts at 7. And it's free. And it's a vegan restaurant. We have live band, comedians from all across the country. But now you can go. Yes, go ahead. And
you spotted a harlot in the crowd.
Oh, yes.
With a mustache.
Not thick, but she had, it was a little...
A mustache nonetheless.
Yeah, not as good as mine, but it was
It's like looking at like poop streaks inside of the underwear. I mean, regardless if the entire underwear is brown or if there's a little streak, it's poop streaks.
Yeah, there was a mustache there.
So if she had a mustache there, you mean to tell me, and you know me.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're savage.
You didn't mention the fact that this lady came in.
Right.
Looking... like Steve Harvey in these streets? Like, what was going on?
Well, what happened was, brother, I asked the crowd. I was feeling myself a little bit because I had just brushed my beard. Or what should be my beard. Which
Absolutely.
is just hair in a place where my beard should be.
Absolutely.
So I brushed it. I didn't brush it before this podcast, so it looks all patchy. When I brush it, it looks decent. It looks presentable.
Fair enough.
So I brushed it before I got on stage. I'm feeling myself. I didn't know that I had touched it a couple times and thinged it.
So you didn't know that you were touching yourself?
No,
that's what you're saying.
But don't see.
All right, so we have a case of a chronic masturbator
here. You do
here
this every single time.
Unaware.
You take my words
of
and you flipped them. That's not what I was talking about.
You said you were unaware that you had touched your face, so you were touching yourself, and you were unaware that you were touching yourself.
Right.
Touching yourself, some people can categorize that as masturbation. So I'm just saying you are chronic.
I'm in the zone. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking so much.
Oh, so when you're in the zone, you touch yourself.
You know
well,
what?
ladies and gentlemen, we have just figured out something.
Listen,
about Marv Glover.
To make a long story short, what happened was I was feeling myself, and I asked the crowd, like, yo, what do y'all think about my beard? It was a very light crowd. There was a couple ladies in there. I'm asking the ladies, and there was like a group of 3 ladies. They looked very, very nice looking ladies. And they was like, oh, my God, it's all right. It's a work in progress. And then there was one lady in front who was with your friend. She was with Ahmad.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's the lady that Ahmad came with.
Ah, okay. All right. Yes. All right. Shout out to Ahmad. I was actually just hanging with him earlier today.
Black and Brown Films.
Yes, indeed. Black and Brown Films.
You guys were getting work in earlier, right?
Well, we had a bit of a meeting, but I wouldn't say necessarily getting the work in regarding, the production. Well, then again, it wasn't regarding the production, but just nothing physical or behind the scenes sort of stuff for the production.
Okay. Yeah. So I asked her, I said, yo, what do you think of the beard? She was like, and this is how you know somebody about to say some fucked up shit. She was like, she said, she looked at me.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, no. She said, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
like,
God.
That's how you know. Like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, here we go. There you go.
Oh, man.
Because that's her way of saying, I'm about to hurt your feelings. And I'm like, hey, you didn't hurt my feelings. She was like,
see, that's how you know they're going to say something wild. See, if they say, I'm going to tell the truth, now you know they're not going to tell you something that's going to hurt your feelings.
It's gonna
that's
be
like
right.
how OJ said, I ain't kill my wife. He said, I'm going to tell you the truth.
I don't know if that's in the same parameters, my friend.
I'm just...
That's a reach. This is about your second or third time mentioning OJ on the show. I don't know if you have a fixation with this man and what he does or what we think he does. Allegedly.
What you talking about?
Oh, no, but I'm just saying.
My man,
if the glove fits, you must have quit. I'm just.
Hey, I was a fan of. He ran for 2,000 yards first. That's a huge feat in 14 games.
Indeed, it is. But I don't know.
He went to USC, took care of business. That's OJ Simpson.
Right. Well, I think that you're more of a fan of his off the field.
World. I mean, what you talking about? His off the field. What you talking about?
No, his earlier off the field.
His sideline reporter days. That was sensational.
I'm talking about his activities with knives, so to speak, and gloves. But that's
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a whole separate thing.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
So back to this woman.
Knives, gloves.
No, but you do, clearly.
Wow.
Hey, to the world. That's you.
That's not just because he enjoys, a little bit of piercing. With it's not as if
a little bit of piercing.
A little bit.
That's what you call it.
A little bit.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, it's not like he wasn't into Prince Henry's. I mean, he was just.
Okay, all right.
Just Nicole's. I don't know what was going on.
So what happened is the girl's looking at me, and she's like, "I'm gonna be honest with you, it's struggling a lot. Like it looks bad." And I'm like, I'm trying to convince her, whatever. And she's just like, She gave me the old black lady. No, baby, get rid of it. And then here we are. But I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna let it grow until February. Because that, Valentine's Day around the time, I'm going to need a little sherry doo-doo, gouillade avec. So if it doesn't look good by then, I have to get rid of it and go back to this young gentleman, with this young whippersnapper here. But I think I'm making good progress. I think I just got to, do the...
Perhaps.
Get some oils, huh? Right?
Maybe.
Maybe some biotin. I heard about biotin. All right? Drink some milk. I don't know. I got to figure it out. I got to do something. I got to maybe engage some of the activities that you engage in. Eat some bobot. I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Where'd this come from, man?
I'm just saying. These are the
well,
things.
if anybody would know about that, it'd be you. Because you engage in a little bit of a Jeremiah challenge because it was a little bit of birthday sex. If you didn't know, by the time this will be, this most likely be released tomorrow. Right. So that'd be 2 days prior. It was Marv Glover's 22nd birthday.
Big two. You know what I'm saying?
See, now you said 2 2s. All right. Yeah. So it was a big time. Birthday celebration.
Nothing.
Where he did a whole lot of nothing. Last year you had a spectacular
comedy show,
21st birthday comedy show.
Headline for the first time, used all the Chiseled Adonis jokes.
Absolutely, he went not my jokes, but he did headline for the very first time. Right. Had about 400 people in the room.
That's a lie.
It was packed out.
It was funny. I paid every single person to show up, and they did. They were all paid actors.
So you're saying you got money? All right, so that's nice.
I'm broke.
But regardless of what transpired, he had a ton of people in the room. It was so packed to where people were sitting on top of people.
Okay.
And that's somebody got pregnant. But regardless, it was
maybe
crazy.
by you. Most likely by you. Most likely by
me. I shoot blanks, baby. But yeah, he was out there, performing. It was a cool venue.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, and you decided I'm not going to do one this year.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, I didn't want. I wanted to, but I just didn't have the material to do it. I didn't want to discourage the people by doing damn near the same 30 that I did last year. So I was like, all right, fuck it. So I was trying to find shit to do. I don't know if are you a birthday person?
Not really.
I'm not either, right? And all I really like is stand up. So it's like people was trying to invite me to dinner. I don't want to do that goofy shit. shit. People were trying to I don't know. It really was just like dinner or what else, like skydiving or some goofy. It was just skydiving. Skydiving is interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't have skydiving money.
But skydiving in
November is a little
November.
Yeah, it was a suggestion. It was just a suggestion.
At least you won't hit any birds on the way down.
Well, I might catch frostbite and pnemounia.
Well, that too.
Time. Yeah,
might just freeze on the way up.
Yeah, it's pretty bad up there. Dinner. What else? Somebody recommended like bowling. Bowling is the stupidest shit. I like bowling is trash to me. Mini golf, all this other goofy shit. And I'm just like, bro, I'm gonna just stay home. I just stayed home and did work. I did, and then that was it. But here we are now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
your boy's 22, big 2-2, everything 2. You know what I'm saying? You know what's good? You don't know what the number 22 stands for? A running back that my team used to have, Big Emmitt Smith, Big E Smith. Yeah, Big E Smith. Had to bring him up. That 22 special. That 22 different. I might just wear 22 next episode. We don't know.
I'll tell you what a 22 is.
Yeah.
You know, a 22 is a gun.
Oh, well, don't do that.
Well, when you shoot a gun, what happens when you shoot a gun next to your ears?
Your ears start ringing.
The things start ringing. You know what else rings when they're close to your ears?
Oh, no.
When a goddamn helmet hits your head. So let's talk about
how do you come up with these segues? How did that was off the top.
What happened last Thursday
night? Big MG. Big MG.
Where we had an AFC North battle where my Pittsburgh Steelers got Mason Rudolph threw 4 INTs. And the Cleveland Browns picked up a big-time, much-needed win in their desperation attempt to make the postseason. However, that's not what we're talking about with the game. No. What we're talking about is what transpired with under 10 seconds left to play, where Myles Garrett decided, hey, I'm going to go to Dave & Buster's, but I'm not physically going to go there. I'm going to go there on the field and play a little bit of whack-a-mole on Mason Rudolph. I mean, this was just an intriguing situation. I made a video about it. I saw individuals who didn't really understand where I was coming from. And I say both parties are wrong. However, you cannot deny nor try to exonerate the fact that Myles Garrett kind of took it too far.
Oh, kind of. I think kind of is an understatement.
He took it far. He took it way too far. Now, I understand Mason Rudolph started, and I understand in the streets, if you don't want nothing, you ain't going to start nothing. However, in the entity that is the NFL, there's a little bit of a difference, especially when you introduce the use of the helmet. We can talk about what Mason Rudolph is trying to do with him attempting to dislodge Myles Garrett's helmet, which cannot be denied, the fact that he did reach for his helmet. However, he failed. Myles Garrett not only successfully, dislodged the helmet from Mason Rudolph's head, he proceeded to swing a little bit with it and connect. So,
he connected, but he didn't connect the way that it could have been.
Well, I mean,
which we're gonna get to. He connected, but we're gonna.
All I know is when he hit him, you heard the Mario. He connected. He picked up some coins. He leveled up a little bit.
What was that?
And then all of a sudden,
okay, I know that song. Yeah.
And it was a course clear because he pretty much finished Mason Rudolph. For some apparent reason, this man who had a history of concussions evidently was not concussed. That was very intriguing. But what were your thoughts on what transpired?
Well, first of all, if we were to talk about who was wrong in the situation, like I said, they both are wrong in their own rights. But one thing we can't acknowledge that we have been talking about, Mason Rudolph did start it, right? Well, actually, if you really want to think about it, it's 7 seconds left in the game. Myles Garrett tackles him down, right? Unnecessarily too, because it's like y'all are buzzing the Steelers' ass. Game is, I think it was like 7 seconds left. Right?
7 seconds left.
Was doing too much.
He hit him, but Mason Rudolph had dumped the ball off already, and then Myles Garrett took him to the ground.
Fell on
and
top
it
of
wasn't a late connection, because I said it was a late hit, but when I said late hit, him taking him to the ground, he didn't throw him directly to the ground. He kind of went down with him.
Fell up on him.
But then what the thing was, when he fell up on him, he ain't get off
right
immediately.
Away. Yeah, he kind of just laid there a little bit.
Stayed there.
Yeah.
And you can tell the difference between, all right, somebody seeing they got takedown and they're upset versus somebody laying there on top of you like, I'm just going to stay here for a couple of seconds.
And for a guy like Mason Rudolph, the game, in his mind, he's like, bro, you're already, but tension's already high for him and I'm sure the rest of the team, because it's like, we just got our ass bust. I just threw 4 interceptions on the day. You on top of me, like, bro, get the fuck off me, right?
Yeah,
so naturally what he does is, his response, like I said, and you can speak to this better than I can, right? And I'm going to get to this a little bit more deeper in response to what Myles Garrett did. But in a game like football, your tensions are high, emotion and hormones is raging, all these other different things is going, right? So because of that, a lot of times you're not thinking rationally with a lot of the things you do. Everything is emotion. Every reaction that you make, everything you do is damn near emotionally based. So for a guy like Mason Rudolph, he's already pissed. If I'm pissed if I throw 4 interceptions on the day and I'm getting ready to leave with an L, especially to a division rival, right? Myles Garrett on top of me, bro, get the fuck off me. He could have handled it a little bit differently. Once again, emotions are fair. So naturally, he goes for the first thing. You're on top of me, your face in front of me. I'm going to grab your face mask. I'm not sure why he was trying to grab the face, why he was trying to pull the helmet off or whatever, but he's doing it. Okay, he fails. Like you said, Myles Garrett gets up, pulls his helmet off. Then now, here's where it gets interesting and where the debate really, really comes in. Two linemen. You probably
Yes,
know.
it was David DeCastro, and then I think it was a Fielder, whatever it was number 71. But I think it was Felder. I think it was
So now he snatches the helmet off.
Yep.
Two linemen are kind of pushing him back, and he doesn't necessarily seem like he's trying to get to Rudolph. He kind of he gets the helmet, and he kind of just is getting pushed back by the lineman. Mm-hmm. But then you look. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Mason Rudolph was just yapping to John." No, Mason was kind of coming at him.
No, in a sense, yeah, because I watched the footage back, a ton of times, right? And a lot of people said, well, he was grabbing, possibly trying to grab for
his helmet,
the helmet. I look at it like, all right, I understand the argument of, oh, maybe he was trying to go grab. They say he was going for the balls. Right. I don't think from a standing position to go try to. That's very. That doesn't happen often.
And now reaching, two linemen,
exactly, no. And reaching for the helmet, that is warranted to say he's going to get his helmet back because he did get up in a rage. Right. He did immediately go, but he didn't even get an opportunity to get his hand near the helmet. We only see him reaching. So there's
no. We see him reaching and we see him charging. Like I said,
no, he's charging but reaching.
Yeah, charging and reaching. Right?
Yes,
but once again, tensions are high.
Absolutely.
Right? And once let me save it for when I get to the Myles Garrett point. So tensions are high and he's reaching. But for a guy like Myles Garrett, we don't know if he's seeing red. We don't know what's going on. All you know is from his point of view, you have to understand there are two linemen holding you back.
Yep.
And you have the quarterback of the opposing team that's coming at you, whether he's trying to reach for the helmet, whether he's trying to throw a hit. We don't know what, but he's coming at you. If I'm in that situation in real, let's just strip football terms. If you're coming at me and I'm heated, I don't care if I have a knife in my hand. I don't care if I have a vase in my hand. I don't care if I have a football, a brick. If it's just my bare hands, I'm going to swing at you to protect myself, right? Now, in no way, shape, or form, and me saying that, am I trying to take away from what Myles Garrett did? Because it's absolutely deplorable. I mean, when you think about it, Mason Rudolph could have died that night. You understand what I'm saying? He was very fortunate and lucky to where he got hit. I think it was like the back part of the helmet.
It was the back piece.
And it was like right where the plastic thingy is at.
Absolutely.
You understand? And once again, even that, I mean, a helmet is still a helmet. So I'm surprised he didn't like fall or like he wasn't a little dizzy. He kind of just took the hit and turned around and was like, yo, where's the flag? Where's the flag? Right? We can only imagine and sit here and wonder what the conversation would have been if he got hit with the crown of the helmet. We'd be having a total Myles Garrett might be in jail right now. It really might be just that serious. You understand? But at the same time, once again, not me trying to take anything away from him, right? And once again, you can speak to this better than I can. In a game like football where tensions are high and stuff like that, you hear people talking about, oh, well, he should have known better. In a moment like that, you're not thinking about know better. You're thinking about this motherfucker's coming at me. I need to protect myself and or get him away from me. Move. So for me, it's like in Myles Garrett's case, even though he hit him with the helmet, for him, it's like he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about protecting himself and hitting him. So, I mean, that's the way that I look at it. Ultimately, it is still very much so egregious. And then afterwards, you have was it DeCastro when he fell?
Marquise Pouncey came in.
Who started stomping on?
that was Marquise Pouncey. Okay. He started punching and kicking and everything.
Got you. So then from there, that's when things really spilled over because Garrett falls over, right? And I think it was like 2 or 3. I know Marquise Pouncey was a part of it, and then Marquise is standing over him, kicking him and punching him, and then there's another. I think there's one more lineman on top of him.
I think the other lineman, DeCastro, was just there like trying to just stay on top of him. He
hold him down.
Yeah, he was just holding him down. It wasn't like there was only one person punching and kicking, and that being Marquise
and then
Pouncey.
After that, the foolish ass defensive tackle for the Browns, just out of nowhere, just talking about he was trying to protect.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Mason Rudolph's over here. Myles Garrett is on the floor. What do you?
That was a cowardly move. You just go over there and push somebody.
Absolutely ridiculous. But ultimately, like I said, it was. Thank the Lord that Mason Rudolph didn't, especially once again coming. You got to think about the context around it all too. And I'll let you speak to this when you talk about coming into the game. I think you had told me something about how like Myles Garrett was like leading the league. Something about a bunch of roughing the passer calls.
Yeah, he had 2 roughing the passer calls, I think, already this season, and he had maybe like 3 or 4 last season.
Right.
But the thing was with him, it was always got to cut down on the penalties. Cut down on the penalties.
Right.
And Myles Garrett isn't a bad dude.
He's not. He's not bad. It's not Vontaze Perfect we talking about.
Exactly. Right. It's a dude who don't have no history. So that's why a lot of people just, wait, this is very unfamiliar. This isn't a characteristic that we expected.
Apparently, some of the journalists were saying that, some sources that came out and said that, apparently in practice, he's like always on 100. Like to the point where like coaches have to like pull him to the side and like tell him like, yo, calm down. You understand? So stuff like that, not the helmet hitting situation, but when you think about like the roughing the passer and all that stuff, I guess that's a byproduct of it. But then, like I said, you look at that backstory to it, but then you look at the Mason Rudolph situation. Just a couple games ago, this man was in the concussion protocol.
Exactly.
Because I think it was Earl Thomas hit, right? You understand? So he was already dealing with some head issues before. My goodness. Once again, I'm surprised that he didn't get hurt from when the helmet had connected, but you sit there and you think about it, and it's like, bro, what could have been? Thank goodness it hasn't, but ultimately, here we are now. The situation has boiled down. Suspensions have been given out. Apparently, there's still going to be fines that are going to be given out.
Fines without question, because players left the sidelines. And there was still a kerfuffle that happened. So you gotta go and fine people for what transpired. But before we get into the suspensions, I just wanted to say this much regarding what happens on the field, and seeing the tensions rise and everything. Now, granted, if somebody is charging at you, you're going to have I want to protect myself at all times. But here's one of the things that a lot of people happen to miss. Whenever a skirmish breaks out in the NFL, regardless of whatever team you play for, you always see people go to try to separate the two parties who are enraged.
Right.
The linemen, when pushing Garrett, weren't like, "Oh, what's wrong?" They went they were simply separating him.
Right.
In the midst of them pushing him and Garrett pretty much being pushed, so it appears as if he's walking away and Rudolph charging him. If you look frame by frame, Garrett doesn't. He has the helmet. It's not like he just looks away like he's not looking. It's as if he's looking for Mason
to hit him with the helmet.
Not to hit him with the helmet
but
per
just
se,
to see where he's at.
But just to see where he's at.
Okay.
And immediately swing it and throw the helmet. I'm not to say that you're supposed to just be in complete control of your emotions, because granted, somebody tries to twist the helmet while it's on your head. There's a lot of neck things that are there.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Mason's initial plan was to try to dislodge the helmet. The way that it looks while he was doing does come off as that, because sometimes when you're trying to shove somebody's head and you push their head, there's already an issue with that nonetheless. But there could be things where your hands can get lost. I'm not saying he wasn't trying to grab his helmet, because there's a high probability that he was. But since we're living in the realm of what ifs, he did put his hands on the helmet, so nonetheless you do that, right? Then they talk about possibly him kicking Myles Garrett in the balls, right? From when you look at the location of his leg, it was never, "Oh, I kicked you." If anything, he lifted his leg and he pressed.
They said he kicked him when they were on the ground?
No, while he was on the ground, they said he kicked him in the balls, which when you watch it, there's no way he could have kicked him to where it would have been. There could have been an attempt.
Right. I don't know if I think probably his legs were like flailing.
Exactly. His legs were already flailing. I would not say he kicked him. Now, pressed him while he was getting pulled up by the face man. His foot was definitely in the area. So it was pressing on the man's pelvic area. But it only got pressed in that spot because he's being pulled up.
Right.
If anybody puts themselves in that position, and this isn't a biased Steelers fan talking.
Right. You just calling it as it is.
I'm calling it as I'm watching it. So while he's pulling him up, and then takes and dislodges the helmet. It should have ended right there, right? And a couple of people brought a couple of clips to me where you had a Richie Incognito got hit in the head with his helmet in a preseason game a couple years back. You had Lau Zato in the 80s while playing for the Raiders. He threw a helmet at somebody, but when he threw he dislodged the man's helmet and threw it at him. It hit him in the chest, right? Nothing in the head. Richie Incognito got hit in the face, but not the top of the head. Not to say, oh, there's a huge, it's all right if you hit somebody in the face, but the overhead thrust of the helmet, that's a whole different level. And when you look at it from football terms, that's where it makes it egregious, because you've seen fights and skirmishes all the time on the field. I'm not one to say, oh, well, because this person started it. By that logic, every time somebody gets into a shoving match on the field, you suspend everybody.
Right.
If that's what we're going to go with. When it becomes physical and you see what Myles Garrett did, you cannot excuse that to say, well, if you ain't starting nothing, Mason Rudolph, we never got to this point. Because you have to acknowledge where things are wrong. What I think a lot of people are missing here is both parties are wrong.
Yes.
But Myles Garrett took it to another level.
Most definitely.
Acknowledging that he did does not exonerate Mason Rudolph of his actions.
I agree.
So they're both wrong, but Myles Garrett took it to a whole new level.
Most definitely.
Now, regarding the suspension,
before you get into the suspension,
and Marquise Pouncey, I understand why he's suspended, but of course you're gonna go and protect your boy. You're not gonna let your quarterback get beat, and you're gonna go. The kicking on the ground that was a bit excessive.
Right.
That was when I saw him go kick. I'm like, oh, come on now.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
But I understand why.
You're trying to protect your boy.
You're trying to protect your boy.
But at the same time, it's like you once you start like kicking, like I said, you could have just held him. The punches, kicking, that's why I cross off.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you bringing up kicking. I have a question to ask you before we get into the suspensions. People are talking about they've never seen anything like this in football or whatever. You bring up the Richie Incognito thing or whatever. Is this the most egregious act you've ever seen happen on the football field?
With my own eyes, yes. There could have been something that happened before, but on the field, I mean, there have been some dirty hits before. I've seen a ton of dirty hits, but with the swinging of the helmet?
Right. I've never seen anything like this, right, in full effect. But when I went and did the research, because naturally, when this happened, people started comparing it to all the other crazy things.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. For me, I think even worse than this was the Albert Hainsworth situation.
Oh, with the stomp.
Yeah, bro, because you got to think about it.
Absolutely.
You're talking about, helmet to bare head or skull or whatever the case may be. Son took cleats. His full cleat and put it on his back. Not like he had still had the helmet on. He took the helmet off and then put his cleat and cut his face. Like, imagine if he he didn't even it was kind of like a scrape. Yeah. And he started leaking. Now imagine if he came down with full force. That when
it's like a curb stomp into a freaking. It's one of those things where you see it like, what is wrong,
bro? I'm watching him like, what went? Why?
Yeah.
What? I just found out about a couple of games. I'm watching like, bro, you did this and didn't get arrested. That was insane. I think that's worse than the Myles Garrett.
I would agree, but then the swinging of the helmet and what amplifies it is a little bit different. Not to take away from what transpired,
that was terrible.
Because I feel as if a lot of people, their attention spans is very quick, or they'll convolute what it is that you say. Although that you can say, "Hey, I acknowledge this," because you have a certain standpoint. They assume that standpoint goes since it goes against theirs. They'll just assume, well, everybody who goes against my standpoint falls into this right here. Because of the swinging of the helmet, and also you have to take into account the concussion that Mason Rudolph sustained before.
Right.
Them working for the entity of the NFL, so their coworkers that are here. Then you have what could have transpired. Because the what if, I'm never big on what ifs, but in this case, it has to be applied. Because when you swing something with reckless abandon, there's a thing called attempted murder for a reason.
Right, most definitely.
All right, because it may not have happened, but hey, it's similar to when you're drunk driving, right?
Right.
You may not have killed somebody, but you could have. So they charge you because you could have.
100%.
So when you're looking at the swinging of the helmet, you have to look at it from what could have happened, not what actually happened. So I understand with the suspensions why people got suspended the way that they did. However, I'm disappointed Mason Rudolph didn't get a game. He should have got suspended.
We're going to get into that right now. Before we do, like I said, just to close it out, close the top section out. The only reason I put the Albert Hainsworth thing over the Myles Garrett situation, because like I said, it's not to say that to justify what he did, because it's wrong is wrong. Don't get me right. Don't get me wrong. Wrong is wrong. But with the Myles Garrett situation, like I said, tempers are high, all this other thing. With the Albert Hainsworth thing, you watch it, it was not planned like he came into the game and said he was going to. No tempers were high, nothing. Son purposefully took the helmet off and put cleat to head. That, for me, and he looked, it's not like he did it and tried to be sly. He looked at him white. I've never seen anything like that. That was terrible, but it is what it is. Now, as for the suspensions, like you said, Myles Garrett out, he has been suspended indefinitely, right? Which essentially what we think is going to happen is he's obviously done for
this
the rest
year,
of the
and he
season.
got to appeal for next year.
Maybe next year he'll probably get a couple games. We don't know, right? Your boy DeCastro 3 games.
No, DeCastro's still good. Pouncey 3 games.
Sorry, I got
Pouncey 3 games.
Pouncey 3 games. The D-tackle who pushed Mason at the end, one game. And then who else? I think that was just it. And then both teams got 250.
Yeah, they got
fines.
Right? Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on each individual fine? What would you change? What would you? How are you feeling about all of them? What's your?
I agree with everything,
but
with the exception of Mason Rudolph getting a game. I think the defensive tackle who pushed Rudolph should probably get 2 because that had nothing to do with nothing.
Okay.
And I recognize that with taking a game away is already tough, but then you pushed them for no damn reason, and then your defense of your action just made
it's foolish.
Yeah, it's just
it was
foolish.
A lie.
Mason should get 1 because of the twist of the helmet, not because Son was angry and charged at him. That I don't believe that has anything.
Okay.
But because of the twisting of the helmet, that is what would get him the game.
Okay.
Myles Garrett, the indefinite suspension, it's not actually indefinite. Don't play semantics with the words. It's not, you'll never play again. You'll have an opportunity to appeal. It's just like whenever you break the three times rule with the marijuana or the drugs and everything, you still can apply for the appeal and get an opportunity to play again. So I agree with all of the suspensions. Pouncey getting 3 games, I agree with that. He should be able to appeal. It'll probably come down to 2, maybe even 1. For Myles Garrett being gone for the rest of the season, I agree with that, given his thing. And he'll most likely come back next year. He'll probably give him like 10 games or something like that, or probably 6. Games? I think they might. Who knows? They might. It would be a lot, but I think they probably. Who knows?
10 games if Mason got hurt. I agree with 10 games if Mason got hurt. Now, I agree with Pouncey. Pouncey definitely deserved the 3 games. Maybe 2 or 3 would have been good for me. So he got 3. Okay, cool. The D tackle, I think 1 game is enough. You said that you think he should have got 2. I would have agreed with you if he tried to hit him. Absolutely. Like the way he did it was kind of like an immature push. You know what I'm saying? Like the way he came into the scene was kind of like, "Hey, I want to be down. Fuck you, Mason." That's the vibe that I got from it. So if he had came from the back and hit him or put something from behind the neck or something like that, 2-3 games, because then it's like, all right, you wildin', cool. Who else was there? The Myles Garrett suspension, I agree with wholeheartedly. I think that him getting suspended for the rest of this season was inevitable. You can't debate that. Now, as to how it moves into next season, I think it would be appropriate, because how many games are left in the season for the Browns? 5, 6? 6,
I think.
So, 6 games this season. I think a calm 3 to 4 games. Give him 10 games in total. I think that'll be enough. If he's able to appeal and get less than 4, right, and maybe he's only suspended for the first 2, I'd be fine with that too. But, just to do it in a way so that you can kind of really put the stamp on it and really put your foot down on it as the NFL. Because like I said, we haven't seen anything like this. You understand? Now, as for Mason Rudolph, he should have got a game, but at the same time, I'm not mad at the fact that maybe if he actually got Garrett's helmet off, then maybe.
I would agree, but just in the interest of fairness of seeing how everything transpired, that's why I say give him a game.
Right.
Because even with the helmet twist and everything,
right?
I don't even think he's getting a fine. I don't think there's anything.
If he doesn't get, if he was supposed to get suspended, he would have got suspended.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get suspended.
Yeah.
He should at least get a fine of some sort.
There has to be some sort of disciplinary
type of disciplinary action taken against him to make up for what he did, even though it wasn't as bad as what everyone else did. Yeah. But ultimately, I'm cool with the suspensions and everything. But now this leads to an even bigger discussion, right? And mind you, me and you had similar to the discussions of this early in the year after the Browns-Titans game and what we saw there. You look at what happened with this Cleveland Browns team. Myles Garrett out indefinitely after doing what he did. And the situation that transpired has now transpired. I got to ask you, based on what we saw that night, what does that situation tell you about this Browns team as a whole?
All it does is magnify the questions that we had coming in and the same sort of concerns. Can Freddie Kitchens, hold this locker room under wraps? And yet again, he can't. And every single problem that happens with the Browns, it's overshadowed by off-the-field things or things that are on the field that got nothing to do with actual football.
Right.
You have the OBJ situation. You got Baker Mayfield, him talking, and then underperforming. We're not even going to talk about that. Yep. Then you have the cleat situation with Jarvis and OBJ.
Right.
The constant, the chatter that's happening, and then now you see the team losing, and now you have this Myles Garrett situation. How can you keep this locker room under wraps if week after week there's always a new problem? So the Browns organization, regardless of how much talent they have, they continue to be dysfunctional because of the little things. They don't have somebody who's a leader whatsoever.
No.
The leader of that defense was Myles Garrett.
He's gone now.
And he's gone now. The leader of their offense is Baker Mayfield.
Supposed to be the
leader, or even Jarvis Landry, but still they're having problems offensively. Because let me point something out to you. The Steelers threw 4 INTs and still were within a touchdown away from tying up the game, regardless of how trash that offense was doing the entire game. The Steelers' defense is legit this season. They're still showing up.
Right.
They were gifted. The Browns, their opening drive, they went down the field. Their second touchdown, they were gifted, field position. And then the third touchdown, another INT, gifted field position. It's not as if they're going down the field and they're just, having their way with defense. That's not the case.
Right.
So from what I'm seeing, the Browns, they're still the Browns.
Yeah.
They got some more wins now, but until Freddie Kitchens in that front offense puts their foot down and gets players to fall in line with a certain sort of discipline, they're never going to be able to go anywhere.
Now, before I get my point, I got to ask you this. Season ends, Browns don't make the playoffs. Is Freddie Kitchens still your head coach going into next season?
No, he's fired.
Okay, got you. Just wanted to double check on that. If they do miraculously make the playoffs, but they lose in the first round, is Freddie Kitchens?
He's fired.
Okay, good. Why do you say that?
It's going to be very similar to what transpired with the Tennessee coach 2 years ago.
Okay.
I forget what his name was.
Wisenhunt?
No, not Wisenhunt. It was I forget what his name was, but he was able to get them to the playoffs, and then they won a playoff game, and after they lost to the Patriots, he got fired.
Okay.
Because he was on the hot seat the entire time. But with Freddie Kitchens, you underperformed with, this very talented team. And if they were to make the playoffs, that would have him like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. Yeah. But depending on how they lose in the opening round, if they were to lose, like if they win a couple of games or they win a game, hey, he might just keep his job. Right. But from where I stand right now, I think Freddie Kitchens, it's pretty much clear.
Take the L out of love. It's over, brother. What is the situation? Tell me about this Browns team. What the situation tells me is that first and foremost, after this season, Freddie Kitchens will no longer be the head coach of this Cleveland Browns football team, because going into this season, we looked at the talent that they had on both sides of the ball, not just offense, because obviously Odell being the big name he is, it's easy, but on both sides of the ball, they had straight ballers on every level, right? So when you look at it, people were immediately Super Bowl team. Oh my god, they're gonna make the play. Oh my goodness, this is the team that we were Browns fans from top to bottom, raving and ranting, ready for this team to shine. And what do we see? They come in and they're just stinking it up from top to bottom. And it's not because they're getting beat, but rather they're beating themselves. We saw it in that first game against the Titans. We even saw it in the game, I think after that they played the Rams, if I remember correctly. I forget who they played after that, but the first couple of games, and even still now, the Browns have constantly beaten themselves. Why? Because on and off the field, they've lacked the most important thing that you need to succeed in this league: discipline. There's no discipline whatsoever on the field and off the field. Off the field, you have to deal with all these antics, right? In the Odells, in the Baker Mayfield, who refuses to stop chatting it up. I remember after the first win they had against this was their second win in the season, I think against the Jets, where he was like, keep that same energy, but as if they was getting ready to go to the playoffs. I'm not sure where this man got that bravado from, but whatever. The nonsensical things that you have to deal with off the field, and then on the field, the penalties after penalties after penalties after penalties. You said it best, and we've been saying this since the beginning. Point to me, show me who's the leader of this Browns team, because I don't see him. Who's the guy that that has throughout the season has shown you that he's gonna be able to get everybody together and show them, no, we're gonna work as one unit, one mind, one soul, one everything, because our objective here is to win. You can't find that guy. It's not Baker. It's not Odell. It's not Jarvis. And it's damn sure not Freddie Kitchens. Every time I look at Freddie, I've been saying this at the beginning of the season, the man looks dazed. He looks like he's just riding along. You understand? He looks like he's still figuring it out himself. And that was another concern coming into the season. Sophomore quarterback in Baker Mayfield, rookie head coach in Freddie Kitchens, who hadn't showed you anything beforehand that he was ready for this position. And now what do you have? An uber talented roster on both sides of the field that's probably not going to make the playoffs, because they're damn sure not winning the division. Mm-hmm. Ravens got that on lock, and them winning the wild card, I can't see that happening. So, unfortunately for me, what this tells me is, like you said, everything that it shows and reminds us of everything that we've known from the beginning. This team has no discipline, no leadership, and it's just going to be another hapless season for the Browns, because they're not going to make the playoffs again.
And you say Freddie Kitchens would be unemployed at the end of the year.
Has to.
All right, so fair enough. Since he's going to be unemployed, he'd be next to a person who's unemployed right now.
Oh, yeah.
In the NFL, and that'd be Colin Kaepernick.
Is he in the NFL?
Well, not necessarily. He's on the outside trying to get in.
Well, is he trying to get in, though?
Well, that's what the question is. Because I'd like to know, what were your thoughts on this Kaepernick situation? Whoa. And do you think that he ruined his chance getting back into the NFL?
Before I get into it, why don't you let the audience, for the few people that may or may not know, what exactly is the Kaepernick situation, if you could please enlighten us?
3 years ago, he decided to go and take a knee to protest racial inequality, police brutality, and just the mistreatments of blacks in America, right? Which justified cause to want to take the knee. Right. And he was evidently there was a veteran who went, or an armed person, part of the military, who said, hey, maybe you should take a knee. And then he decided, hey, I'm going to go and take that knee. People were outraged, and what transpired, he ended up opting out of his contract. Because evidently the 49ers were going to cut him anyway. Okay. And
of that, or just because
No, I'm not sure what the deal was, but I guess they did feel as if Blaine Gabbert was better. And
he's not.
He was 1-10 in his last 11 starts.
Cap.
And I think he was 16 touchdowns, 4 INTs, but it was not able to get W's. And since then, he had not had a job. I felt as if he was blackballed. He wasn't getting an opportunity to play. However, in the case of, with him trying to figure out how to get back into the NFL, he felt as if he was denied for 3 years. He settled with the NFL under the collusion cost. But he never really disclosed how much money he ended up getting. Nobody knows.
Never know.
But it's not really our business. However, if people want to know, and we'll show us the dollars. Well, why not?
It's not going to work. But okay.
Here we are now, where he felt as if he deserves to have a workout. Jay-Z was able to somehow strong-arm the NFL into doing something they never do and having a workout for just one individual. Cap wanted all 32 teams to be there.
I think 25 came.
Yeah, but 25 pulled up with 25 teams were represented. And in Atlanta, then what transpired was Cap and the NFL could not reach an agreement because they wanted to sign a waiver. The waiver stating all the regular standard practices for what would
from what we know.
With that. But then the alter, what they wrote and added in was, for one, this is not a guarantee for a job. So if you do not get signed, you cannot sue us.
Boom.
And two, your team, meaning Kaepernick's team, cannot film, will handle all of the media and everything, will film whatever's transpiring and, divvy it up and send it to the different sort of organizations. You can't bring your own. No, we're going to have receivers that are appointed for this particular workout that we're going to fly out and pay. However, you're not going to be informed who they are. And this was all going to take place on a Saturday, which was already
and I think they announced it on like a Tuesday.
Yeah, they announced it on like a Tuesday. I think the initial plan was to have it on a Tuesday, which would have been much more ideal for heads, coaches, and GMs and representatives because that's the beginning of the work week versus the day before game day. But what transpired was Cap could not come to that agreement, and rather than cancel the workout altogether, he decided, I'm going to relocate.
About 60 minutes away.
Yes, 51 miles away. Yeah, it was quite distance.
Really?
Yeah, it was quite some distance. On 30 minutes short notice prior to the start of the workout. And more importantly, I believe there were protesters that was outside of the location that they were initially going to have the workout at. So Cap decided to go somewhere to a high school field where he had support. About 200 supporters of his who were there with "I'm with Cap" shirts, or I should say jerseys, know your right shirts, all those different sort of things. And more importantly, you can't just pull up to a practice field.
Oh, he had to plan this.
And you must have already planned this.
Oh, yeah.
So you did
especially
this
if there's already people there.
Yeah, and then you pull up
Kunta
Kinte's shirt, all the other stuff. But still, all of this coming from when you were calling, the NFL, slave owners and everything else like that. But you're still trying to get a job. But we're not talking about that right now. We will. But that is what the Kaepernick situation was. And ultimately, him finishing the workout, denying interviews
he just gave a statement at the end.
And he just gave his statement, spoke with his people, and then that was pretty much the end. And now here we are to this point.
How do I feel about the Kaepernick situation? I'm glad you asked, my friend. Well, if I had one big takeaway from this, it's simple. Personally, after the situation that has unfolded, I do not think that Colin Kaepernick will play another down of football in the NFL ever again, which is unfortunate because talent-wise, the man is good enough to be on a football roster. He's talented enough to be a backup quarterback. Hell, on some teams, he's talented enough to be a starting quarterback compared to a lot of other people that are starting in the league.
He could start on the Bengals now.
He could start on the Bengals. He could probably start for the Bears. He'd be a lot better than Mitchell Trubisky. Where else? The Broncos, I'm pretty sure, would love to have him. Who else? The Titans. Tannehill's been looking.
Tannehill's been doing it.
That's a whole separate conversation. Talent-wise, Colin Kaepernick deserves to be on an NFL team. Talent-wise, Colin Kaepernick deserves to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. But based on the situation that has transpired, it won't happen. Why? I'm looking around and people are having a lot of conversations about race in America. People are having a lot of conversations about black versus white and slave owner this and racism and all these other different things. Let's make one thing very, very clear. I am for what Kaepernick ultimately took his stance for, which is understanding and recognizing and highlighting, right, the inequalities and the systems that have been put in place against people of color, such as myself and as you, right, for us to have decent living and have a certain level of progression throughout our daily lives, right? Racism, all this other stuff, cool. But that's not what, to a certain degree, that's not what this is about. What this was about was that you, Colin Kaepernick, let's not talk about black and white. Let's just call the facts the facts. You, Colin Kaepernick, came out and said, I want to play in this league again. The league clearly does not want you to be a part of them. They made that very, very clear. That's why you had the whole collusion case and all those other different things. You blackballed the whole nine. We understand and we recognize that. Jay-Z becomes a partner, strong arms them to give you the workout. You get the workout and you decide, actually, we're going to do it this way. The only thing that he did that he stood for that I kind of agree with is having his own receivers.
Absolutely.
That's
and also being able to tape the workout. I'll
give you that. Right.
And I agree with him having his own receivers.
Right.
I 100% back him with that.
Right.
And his own film and being able, but these are things that could have been handled before.
Because as we're going to get into all of that. But as a quarterback, it's like, you're not finna just throw me some receiver. For all I know, what if they fuck around? That's one argument that he could have made. Well, how don't I know you paid these dudes to be fucking around on the routes and all that shit, and they're gonna be looking bad. And on top of that, it's a certain chemistry that comes with the quarterback and the receiver. So that I understand. Being able to film your workout. I mean, if you're gonna film, why can't I also film? I don't get it. Right? Cool. But let's stop. I'm not trying to not have the conversation about race and all stuff, but I think that people are trying so hard to make that the focal point of what this is. And for me, it's not. The man wants to let's not even talk about. A man wants to work at a place. A place does not want the man to work there. Someone else gets involved to set up a situation to where the man has an opportunity to get a chance to work at this place that doesn't want him to be there. And the day for that opportunity, for him to seize that opportunity that he claims he so desperately craved these past 3 years, he decides, I'm going to do it my way. It doesn't work that way when you are an employee trying to work for an employer. The fact of the matter is, in the capitalistic society of America, an employer says jump, you got to say how high. It sounds fucked up, but that's just the way that it is. And if you, Colin Kaepernick, are so insistent, and mind you, this is a point that I made before. Cap, clearly the NFL doesn't want you to be a part of them, but you want to play football, right? CFL, AFL. If football is really what this is about, you have other options, but no, you want to play in the NFL. Okay, cool. But if you want to play in the NFL, you got to show me. And what he did Saturday showed us that evidently that's not the case. I'm not sure what the fuck is going on, because you got the opportunity that you said that you were denied the past 3 years. You did your own thing. I don't want to hear any more talk about, well, I've been denied. No, you got the opportunity. They didn't even want to give you in the first place, and you blew it. That's how I look at it. What are your thoughts?
I agree 100%, because I look at Cap like this. This has been a sham from the start. Once it turned into me, I've been denied, I've been this, because it changed from what the initial cause was.
Right.
Because it was all supposed to be about police brutality and
right.
Now it's become about, yo, I'm Cap, yo, I'm denied, yo, I should be here, yo, this. And we've already agreed. You having the collusion case and the NFL settling with you shows that they acknowledge they were wrong.
Right.
You had a chance here. And you going back doesn't necessarily mean that you're bootlicking per se to get this job.
Right.
I understand you also want to control the narrative, but you can't sit here, sue this entity, call out this entity, call them slave owners, and then apply to be a slave.
Before you even finish, we haven't even started talking about, once again, his team. His girl, Nessa. I think there was a situation where there was some rumors that came along that he apparently, around the time in the early stages of his, he had got like 5 offers from like 5 teams.
Yeah, he did. She started.
Their team denies and said that they never got an offer. Yeah. But then I remember vividly that around the time, something with the Baltimore Ravens where she had put out a tweet. And it was
she started chatting.
It was a picture of Ray Lewis hugging on the owner, and then like she put it side by side with the clip of Django with DiCaprio and Samuel Jackson. Right? Then you have a guy like Eric Reed, which the Eric Reed thing, I think in this entire situation bothers me a lot, because you have Eric Reed from when Cap first got, when he was first rallying for Cap, then when Jay-Z gets his gets the opportunity to work with the NFL and he's calling him despicable. I really don't understand what Eric Reed's point. How can you sit here and go as hard as you can going against the NFL? You still play, like, I don't get it. You still play for the NFL is despicable. Oh, these owners, Jay-Z's. you collect a check from them every single week. I don't get it. Kaepernick, I've been denied 32 years. For me personally, once again, strip football. If I want to work somewhere and they don't want me to be there, I don't want to be there no more. It's really black and white. So for me, it's like you saying one thing, well, I want to play football, NFL, no. Yeah, slave owners and that. I don't get it. And then for that, and then on top of that, I don't want to bring First Take into it, but then you have like people like Stephen A. Smith or whatever that's coming out and highlighting it. Like if you pay attention to like these sports shows where they're talking about it, right? More specifically, First Take. You have a guy like Stephen A. Smith that's highlighting stuff, like saying exactly what I'm saying, verbatim. And then you have a guy like Max Kellerman that come out and not necessarily addressing the topic directly in a way. He's kind of just talking about the historical.
He looks at it from a moral standpoint, but ignoring the reality of the situation.
And then what bothers me about that is you go on Twitter, you go on all social media. Oh, Max Kellerman, welcome to the cookout. Max Kellerman, that man, Max Kellerman is blacker than Stephen. Stephen A. is a coon, Uncle Tom. What? What? And and I don't want to sidetrack, but that's one of the things that really bothers me about our community is that whenever we have a disagreement or someone doesn't, it seems like someone is saying something that's out of line with what we want our ultimate agenda to be. Instead of sitting down and having a discussion, oh, he's a Uncle Coon, Uncle Tom, or whatever the case may be. But the minute a white dude comes out the wazoo and says, you know what? Black people are disenfranchised. Oh, bravo. Oh my goodness! Welcome to the cookout. Like,
and you know what bothers me the most is when they say they disagree, they never explain why. I just had my video about the Cap situation post 3 hours ago,
right? And
the first comment that I saw was, I'm usually with you, but you sound like you bootlicking. You didn't.
What's bootlicking?
Apparently it's like when you coon and things like that.
Okay,
but not once did you point out where you disagreed.
Right.
Not once did you provide your analysis.
Right.
You just said, I can't rock with you. I don't agree with you, so you this.
Right.
How you immediately label some. I'm doing, first and foremost, if you agree with what the person's stance was overall, how can we both stand on the same side but then acknowledge that, you went about this the wrong way? That means that you're completely.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Makes no sense.
Ultimately, in this Cap situation, and just to tie in the thing with Eric Reed, I made an analogy about it. Eric Reed is somebody he's on the plantation per se, and he can clock out at 5. He's doing overtime till 3 a.m. Upset that his friend can't come pick cotton with him, and literally refuses to leave. It makes no sense.
I don't get
because they don't. And it's one of the things that, and I understand you want leverage, and everybody should aspire to have leverage,
right?
And not have an entity have leverage over you,
right?
However, if you're gonna buck, do it from the inside. And I constantly tell people this: the best way to defeat a system is from the inside, not the out. If you want to beat it, go infiltrate, become the virus from the inside, and then destroy it. Don't sit from the outside when you're not even a unified front at that.
Right.
And just sit over here and continue to go. It makes no sense to me.
Right.
And with the Cap situation, if he did all of this,
right,
and was playing in the CFL, in the AFL, in the MFL, in the upcoming XFL, if he did all of this but not playing in the NFL, I am with you.
Right.
But because you're still trying to go back,
right,
it's ridiculous. Not saying that you're not justified in, wearing the kunta and feeling how you feel, but you're calling these people slave owners. Openly, but still asking for them to give you a job. You're not going to spit in my face and I'm going to offer you a contract. That doesn't happen.
Doesn't make sense.
We need to freaking acknowledge the reality of this. And it's enraging because people look at it from, as Max Kellerman would do, from the morality.
Which nobody's denying.
But
also juxtapose it with the reality of the situation in that, once again, strip away everything. I'm not even talking about football. It's just the reality of any situation. If you are a person that is looking for employment at a certain location, there are certain rules and regulations and just commonsensical things that come along with it. And the truth is that if I'm the NFL, I don't want you to be here. I've made it very, very clear. The owners that also work here have made it very, very clear. And Colin Kaepernick, we understand and recognize that in no way, shape, or form do you plan on pushing your principles and those other things that you stand on to the side in order to play in this league. Okay, cool. the same way that we acknowledge that is also the same way that you have to also acknowledge that the NFL has made it very, very clear that they don't want you. So because of that, you get this rare golden opportunity. I'll go as far to say if Jay-Z didn't partner up with the NFL, I don't know.
Probably not.
This never happened. Because remember, we talked about this before. Me and you both agreed. He's not going to. How is it going to happen? I think this was before the Jay-Z thing. I mean, you both agreed. Colin Kaepernick's done. I don't even know why this is still a discussion. He's never going to play the league again. Jay-Z partners up with the NFL. Push comes to one thing leads to another. Out of nowhere, this man just miraculously.
And the funniest thing was when Jay-Z first signed, there was still dissension. Yo, how you going to go over there and go sign with them?
Right.
They're not even considering the fact that he can use his influence to get somebody a job. Right. And this is my final point regarding this, because we're running out of time. But this is my final point regarding this. With Cap, let's just say he got signed. What happens then? You get signed, right? You get signed. You get on a team. If you play bad and get cut, do you now acknowledge the fact that the NFL gave you a chance, but athletically now you blew it? Right. Is it going to be, well, you know, I've been going for 3 years. Now, if he goes and he flourishes,
phenomenal.
That's
phenomenal.
Great. You prove them wrong.
Right.
If you get the job, you're now on the bench, right? Because you're going to have to start as the backup quarterback. And then when something goes awry, you get your chance and then you go. Right? But what is the end game here? Because if the end game is for you to have a job, this entire thing was unilaterally selfish in you getting a job there. It had nothing to do with the external stuff. If he gets that job and now he's just employed, so we're all riding with him because we want him to be employed. That was it. We just want his son to have a job, collect a check, just be on the sidelines and just be a part of the NFL. What is the end game here?
Right.
Because there's no end game. And even with the protests and everything, it was just, we raising awareness. Cap donated $1 million. That's 2% of the salary that this man had over the course of his entire. Like, this man has made a ton of money, and the only thing that we've been able to see that he showed for it regarding donations and everything was like upwards of, I think it was like $2 million in total. The NFL, because of Malcolm Jenkins and everything, although I don't agree with how they went about it, it's still some steps nonetheless. The NFL's now donated, so they can match your number. If it's all about donations, just say it's all about donations.
Right.
What is the ultimate? Because what can the NFL do for the police brutality? What's happening?
There's only so much that they can do.
There's only so much that they can.
Right.
It's like you versus this entity. I don't understand. It's just a whole genjutsu. I'm not understanding what Cap himself, what his plan is. It just I just don't understand.
I'm trying to figure out, and that's why you have a lot of people that came out and basically thought that this whole thing, like there was some discussion and debate about if it was a PR stunt, because it's like,
absolutely.
When you think about the football field, him moving to the public school field, once again, that's something that you planned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now is this something that happened earlier that morning? Is this something that the minute you got the call for work, he was like, oh no, I'm not going.
I feel as if this entire thing was all set up for that post-workout speech. That's all it was for.
Do you think so?
Absolutely.
Because
the post-workout speech,
he could have done that.
No, he could have. Right. But because of all of the circumstances and because of everything that happened, it empowers that speech for the individuals who only think like victims, everybody who leans on Kaepernick's side, and everybody who feels as if he's always been done wrong and the NFL has done nothing to probably try to get this man an opportunity to get another job. So that short 3 minutes, you can take that, put that on social media, and not only does it build Cap's brand, it puts more money in his pockets from whoever the hell supports him and everything else like that, and it continues to expand. I honestly think this entire thing, I don't believe it was an actual workout from the NFL. I think it's just one of those, all right, we'll give you the workout. We're not really going to get you no job. And I think with Cap, it's on some, all right, bet I'm not going to do it because now I'm going to be able to continue to build my case and more people will support me because I call this all to be bullshit. I honestly think both parties had no intention of actually cooperating together from the beginning.
So you think that this whole thing was just like...
I think it was all a sham from the start.
Man, fact of the matter is this. When you look at it from football terms, personally, even if he did get the opportunity to play again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was an in and out situation. I mean,
absolutely.
Like, this is a quarterback that his ability was more based on athleticism versus skill. Not to say that he couldn't pass the ball, but we knew Cap more for his dual threat ability, right?
And the funnier thing, just to add on it, we continue to ignore the fact that this man was not some elite.
Oh no! I was gonna get there. I was gonna get there.
You get there because it was really just a year and a half.
Right. But once this is a quarterback. Once again, not to take anything away from it, but we're just calling it as it is. A guy whose ability was more based on his dual threat, right action versus his passing ability. And then when you go back to it, when you look at the stats, I mean, it's not like when Cap was in the league, never made a Pro Bowl. Never. I mean, I'm looking at this. I think it's like 14-6, 20 touchdowns today. Cap has never really had a year where he's like, okay, that's the guy. You understand? He did help lead the 49ers that one year to the Super Bowl against the Ravens. But the truth is that he was never really that dude. And so now you take a guy whose game was based mainly on athleticism. You remove him from professional. I know he was talking about, I train every single day, 3 hours for 5 days a week. You could stay away from the game for 3 years. I'm a little iffy on your ability coming back into the fold of things. And now you put him into this, like what really would have happened with Cap football wise? It's a question that needs answers. But truthfully speaking, it doesn't seem like we're gonna get them. But ladies and gentlemen, that concludes episode number 16 of the Hold My Nuggets podcast. As per usual, I am your man, Marv Glover.
And the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis.
And this is the Hold My Nuggets podcast where we talk 50% sports,
50% real shit, 100% of the time.
And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Thank you. Good night.
Random, yes, I know. Usually the podcast episode would have ended, but we forgot to point out yesterday we are starting the official Hold My Nuggets podcast YouTube channel where the entirety of the podcast will be uploaded there. So episode 16 here on the Chiseled Adonis channel and on the Marv Glover channel, this will be the last time the full episodes will be uploaded here. We're still going to put clips up so you know the podcast is running, because individuals who don't watch the podcast, when they see a clip, wait a minute, you guys had a podcast? I had no clue. So we're going to link in the comment section the location of the podcast. Not that hard to find. You just type in Hold My Nuggets podcast. It'll pop up on YouTube. We've got an official Twitter page where we're going to have discussions with the audience as well. Engage in, Twitter tweets back and forth. Also put up some polls, different sort of things that you guys would like to see. Other snippets of different episodes and everything up there as well. We've got an official Instagram page. We go live every taping of the episode, so you can watch it ahead of time. We're trying to see if we could set up down the line to where this can, transmogrify into a live radio show. So who knows? It can turn into 2 hours where we're taking phone calls, but that is all down the line. Also a Facebook page as well. But yeah, go and subscribe to the official Hold My Nuggets podcast YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. Like on Facebook, follow us on IG, whatever social media you just so happen to have. But we're not going to be posting the full length podcast episode on Chiseled Adonis or on Marv Glover anymore. But we've got the official Hold My Nuggets podcast on YouTube. They got its own channel. Go and subscribe to that. Also, Spotify, iTunes, it's still on there too. So if you don't have the time to sit there and watch and you just want to listen, download iTunes or download Spotify. If you already have it, go give us a like, go give us a subscribe, go give us a follow on those two platforms as well. But as I said, let me just reiterate, reverberate, regurgitate said sentiment. No longer will we have the full episodes posted here on Chiseled Adonis and Marv Glover. It will be officially on the Hold My Nuggets podcast YouTube channel. And more importantly, we're uploading from episode 1 through 15 as well. So you're not just going to start at 16 and start fresh. So if you missed a couple of episodes, you want to play catch up, you have a day off from work, or you just got some time to kill and you want to catch up on all 16 episodes, feel free, because we're going to have them uploaded not once a day, maybe like twice a day to catch up by the next taping next week. And keep in mind, as I said earlier, we go live on Instagram, Hold My Nuggets Instagram, the official account. So if you want to catch it early, feel free to tune in then. But I do appreciate everybody who tunes in and watches. Marv Glover appreciates everybody who tunes in and watches. So stay tuned for that. And again, remember to subscribe to the official YouTube channel. I'll see you guys later.